We live in an amazing time in gaming history when people are still making fresh games for old and sometimes very niche consoles. And today is no exception with the recent release of a brand new beat-em-up made for the Neo Geo, Vengeance Hunters. Developed by an Alua studio specifically for running on that powerful arcade-focused hardware, luckily it's also available on PC and other modern console platforms, and fans of the genre are definitely going to want to check out this authentic arcade experience with a very juicy retro aesthetic and immensely satisfying action. The story of Vengeance Hunters takes place in a post-apocalyptic dystopia, where corporations have drained the world's resources, leaving behind a wasteland mess infested with disgusting mutants, diseased zombies, vicious punks, and deranged tech bros, and harboring an unlikely family of 3 heroes who have been pushed to the point of an uncontrollable thirst for vengeance. You and a potential second player can pick from Candy, Golem, and Looney, each with their own unique playstyle and moveset. Common controls between all 3 include light and hard attacks, jumping with generous mid-air maneuvering, the ability to dash, and a button for each character's signature skill. Each also has a health-draining desperation attack, with an additional mechanic here that allows for regaining that lost health if you can manage to keep damaging more enemies without getting hit. Last but not least, they all have a wide array of combos and attacks that will frequently launch your enemies into the air, where you can maximize your damage output even further as you juggle them into oblivion. Beyond the basics of combat, each character has their own fighting style that really keeps gameplay fresh upon multiple playthroughs. Candy plays the fastest of the 3, with a signature cartwheel move that's not only great for navigating out of bad situations, but also to initiate extensive juggling combos or a devastating ground stab. But her high speed does come at the cost of having the lowest health capacity of the team. Looney, the scientist, takes to the field with a cybernetic combat arm with a super useful long-range fissile attack. Great for keeping enemies at bay from a distance, keeping them up in the air, and of course keeping them on the ground, dead. And finally, we have Golem, an orphaned kid merged into an advanced war machine, and notably the only character that can grab and throw enemies, with a wide array of suplexes, body slams, pile drivers, and even air throws. I should also mention that amongst the usual health and score drops typical of beat-em-ups, there are 3 different floating turret weapons you can find, including a machine gun, flamethrower, and missile launcher. There's not a ton of variety there, but you won't find me complaining about picking one up and laying waste to everything on the screen. And luckily, all of these cool moves are not going to go to waste on brain-dead and boring enemies, as we've got a really nice variety of them here with their own distinct behaviors and attacks, putting you in all sorts of different dangerous situations depending on the combinations of mobs coming for you, and perhaps even some environmental hazards in the mix as well. And things can get hectic as hell the further in the game you get, or if you've cranked up the difficulty setting. There's also, of course, an end boss for each of the levels, some of which having some of my favorite sprite designs in the game, but also introducing their own dirty tricks and attack gimmicks that you'll have to deal with. Notably, they don't usually rely much on adding hordes of other enemies to make it more challenging, but instead you'll need to learn their patterns and cycles to strike them at opportune moments. There are 5 levels total, each with their own very unique vibe and atmosphere, and also very well paced and never feeling overly long and stretched out like some other beat-em-ups can be guilty of. Further breaking up the action nicely are a few tongue-in-cheek minigames scattered about, which are helpful for getting a few extra lives, or maybe if you just need to be reminded, who's the master? There are also even secret areas to uncover, and one secret item to be found per stage, with an achievement and special game mode unlocked if you can find them all. Difficulty-wise, there are 3 modes available from the start: Prey, Hunter, and Vengeance, so there's a nice range of experiences depending on your proficiency with the genre. And clearing the hardest mode will also unlock an absurdly tough Expert mode with 1-hit death. And you can't credit feed in this game either, with a limited number of continues available to make you put in a little more effort to see the game to its glorious finish. The game overs never felt too discouraging to me though, as the previously mentioned pacing, reasonable length of the game, and character variety make repeat playthroughs an absolute pleasure. And I know I'm definitely coming back to this one to find all the secrets and snag that 1cc on hard mode someday. Overall, I really recommend picking this up if you're into the beat 'em up genre, or just fun arcade games in general. This may be the first outing from Nalua Studio, but their experience and love for the Neo Geo really shines here, and I can't wait to see what they come up with next. I should also mention, for those looking to play this on real hardware, it was 100% designed with running on the Neo Geo in mind and targeting 60 frames per second, with a nearly identical experience to what's available on PC and modern consoles, just with some very rare and slight instances of slowdown and minor differences in sound quality. But regardless of what platform you play it on, I hope you get out there and enjoy some delicious vengeance. Thanks for watching, and if you're new here, stick around for coverage of all sorts of dank games, new and old. And we'll catch you next time.